Compassion is when we have the desire to alleviate suffering for others. And so we're not necessarily suffering with them, we're actually sending them love and sending them ease and sending them grace and wishing for their suffering to end. And so this really is a perpetually renewing uh, capacity. It's part of our innate nature that we have compassion networks. And I'm taking an interesting course called the Neurobiology of Compassion. And it's really for psychotherapists. And although I am not a psychotherapist, I do a lot of healing work, and so it's really important. And I'm just also perpetually curious about learning. So learning about this compassion, how it actually changes the brain, has been really fascinating. It confirms a lot of things that I just subjectively experienced as I was doing compassion meditation myself. Compassion does all sorts of amazing things. It can really help us strengthen our immune system. It can help us to lower stress and depression and improve any physical ailments. It really helps us to support understanding other people and understanding ourselves when we seek to alleviate suffering for others. And I'm going to do a brief little compassion meditation, like I said. And one of the big things it does, though, for our brains is that it turns off our threat response, our fight and flight response, and it helps activate what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest system. And so it helps us to respond, and instead of reacting, we're responding differently to things that would normally cause us stress. And so it's a really great way to change these kind of threat responses and turn that into something that's more biologically friendly for us and for our hearts and our minds. So I invite you to kind of get comfortable into a position that you can kind of find some lengthening in the spine. And if you're comfortable, closing your eyes or cloaking them by looking down and just coming to your breath. And just becoming aware of the sensation of breath moving in and out of the body. This practice is called a self-compassion break. And we can do this anytime we find we need a little self-compassion, which sometimes can be on the daily, multiple times a day, or on the weekly. But this is available to you at any time. So I'd like you to recall a challenge or something that you might be struggling with, something that's not too difficult or overwhelming, especially if you're new to compassion meditation, but perhaps a relationship challenge or a worry or just a difficult experience. And kind of get in touch with this situation, bringing it to life in your mind's eye. Recalling some details, maybe even some of the emotions associated with this. And we're going to remind ourselves that this is a moment of suffering. And we're bringing mindful presence to something that is hard and that is challenging. And we're turning toward this difficulty, naming this suffering, naming it as a moment of suffering. And we're reminding ourselves that suffering is part of life and part of our common humanity. And it's normal for us to experience challenges. It's part of being human, and we all have hard moments from time to time. And I invite you to say to yourself, may I be kind to myself in this moment. And if you'd like, bring your hand to your heart, or both of them, or anywhere on your body that feels right, and feel the warmth of your hand entering the body. And we're going to send some love and compassion to ourselves through our hand or hands. And I invite you to speak to yourself like you would if a dear friend was going through this challenging experience. Perhaps something like, "I'm here for you. I care about you. It's going to be okay." Expressing our deep wish that we be well and free of suffering. I invite you to repeat these 3 phrases. May I be held in compassion. May my pain and sorrow be eased. May my heart be at peace. I'm going to say them 2 more times. After I say it, I'll leave some space for you to say it to yourself if you'd like. May I be held in compassion. May my pain and sorrow be eased. May my heart be at peace. May I be held in compassion. May my pain and sorrow be eased. May my heart be at peace. And we're going to let go of this practice and just notice how the body feels and allowing yourself just to be as you are in this moment. We're not trying to change it. We're just witnessing. And again, holding this compassion for ourselves for whatever arises as we have this practice.